I think it's time they drop the All-Star and the shoe names. They're getting way too long. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. My name is Jalik, and today we have a detailed looking review at the Converse All-Star BB Prototype CX Mid. Can't forget the mid, it's on the box. I don't know if that means there's gonna be a high or a low. Definitely don't really see where there's room to make it a low. I mean, just look at how far the midsole is coming up the hill. It's crazy. Now, if there is a high or a low on the way, I do hope that that gets rid of this exaggerated piece that we have right here. This is a little bit excessive. But this is the latest from Converse Performance Basketball. While I don't believe it's currently available at any US retailers, it is available at some retailers overseas, mainly in the Europe area, where you can order and have it shipped to the US. That's actually how I got this pair here from Backdoor Bottega, or Bottega Backdoor, I can't remember the right way to say it, but they're the same retailer based in Italy that had exclusive pairs of the Band Air Ship that dropped like 2 years ago. Shout out to Brian on the team for pointing that out to me. We will leave a link down in the description box below if you are interested in checking out. Retail price there was 120 pounds, which I think these days is almost equivalent to $120, but that doesn't necessarily mean that these will retail at $120 when they come to the US. It's not as simple as just converting the price over for US retailers, unfortunately, but hopefully that gives kind of a ballpark range of where they will be when they hit the US, somewhere around that $120 mark, give or take. Now, aesthetically, I'll go ahead and say this is a shoe that I will never wear for anything but performance purposes. However, as far as a performance look goes, I do go back and forth with these, I gotta admit. Sometimes I look at them and I'm just like, what the f? And then there's other times I look at it and I'm like, not bad. It's like Alonzo Mourning over on the sidelines. Speaking of Alonzo Mourning and the Miami Heat, these do remind me of D-Wade's early Converse days, mainly in the colorway I'm talking about. They also remind me of Dennis Rodman's Chicago Bulls days. I'm sure this colorway really doesn't have anything to do with either one of those individuals, but it's just something I thought of when I saw the colors on it. White, red, little hints of black. Nostalgia. But getting back to the shoe itself, this is very surprising in a lot of ways. In some ways it's kind of disappointing, or not what I was hoping would be. And then there's other parts of it that actually surprised me in a more positive way. So I'm very interested in trying this shoe out in some capacity. I may or may not try them out on a hardwood court, but that's something we'll talk about a little bit later. For now, let's go ahead and get into some of the specs on the shoe. Starting off with the outsole, we have a multi-directional pattern. It is a rubber. The pattern gives you linear coverage with the wave lines that you have going from front to back, and then you also have some lateral coverage, mainly with the nubs that go from left to right, right to left, whichever way you start from. This is a very sticky rubber, and also the pattern is packed pretty tight, so this may attract dust and you may have to do some wiping, but I think overall for performance, as long as you keep up the maintenance on them, I think they'll do pretty good. They seem okay in my brief experience on random floors. The nubs are a little on the pliable side, so I am not so quick to recommend using these outdoors, at least for exclusive use outdoors. But indoors, I think as long as you keep up with your wiping, they may be okay. Something that'll have to be determined at a later date. This rubber is also very squeaky. I don't know if that's something along with the tackiness that will fade away as it wears down, but for right now, super squeaky, super tacky. If you're trying to pull off a Jose Alvarado still, you might get caught because they'll hear you coming with these. Now for the midsole, we have a little bit of Nike tech, and then we have some proprietary Converse tech. On the Nike side, we have Zoom Air in the 4-foot only. It's a standard shape unit. One of our WearTesters Discord members actually called it a pentagon shaped unit, and I don't know why I've never noticed anyone call it that before, but now that it's been brought to my attention, I cannot unsee it. That's probably what I'm going to start calling it from now on. Now for those of you that may not be familiar with the pentagon shaped unit, I like to refer to the PG 1, 2, and 3. I go with those because they're usually highlighted through the outsole, but I know Chris also likes to reference the Air Jordan 13 and the Air Jordan 14 Retro. So those same units in the 4-foot is the same that you're getting here. It is top loaded. I can see it peeking through the strobel a little bit, which is a foam strobel. Very interesting. That same foam is actually used for the insole. It's open cell foam, pretty much an ortholite, I'm sure, but it looks like it may be a recycled ortholite just because I can see some of those blue speckles that you normally would see on an ortholite. Not the speckles, but the color blue. So that's what makes up the insole as well as the strobel. Pretty cool, I guess. But for the actual midsole foam, we have full-length CX foam. This is something exclusive to the Converse. I believe Chris did a review on the Converse weapons that use the CX foam. It's a very comfortable setup. In these, it's actually pretty bouncy, especially in the heel area. I'm not gonna go as far as comparing it to Nike React, but it does have a lot of those React properties as far as like the springiness of it. Where I'm hesitant to compare the two is how long will this one last as far as, you know, bottoming out. How resilient will it be over time? But as of right now, it feels great. This is a super comfortable shoe in my opinion. I'm looking forward to more wear. Now the materials are nothing to write home about. You have textiles with synthetic overlays, just to summarize it. But getting into the particulars of the textiles, you basically have a mix of an open mesh and then that canvasy classic Converse type material. They feel okay on the foot. Fortunately, it's a very comfortable inner lining material that actually adds to some of the comfort of the shoe. There's also some padding or pillowing going around the Achilles area on the inside, so I do enjoy that. As far as the more external features, basically overlays for just paneling, aesthetic purposes. Some for high wear, like you have synthetic leather on this toe drag area. Even though the midsole comes up pretty high there, they still added that, so that's cool. A little bit of fuse at the base of the lacing system, which is a traditional tongue by the way, so you will be able to make adjustments easily. And then I do also want to point out, speaking on the tongue, you have this little divot here. I guess this is ergonomically correct for a tongue. You have that little space there to basically wrap around the ankle. It's also well padded, so that's pretty comfortable. Most of the eyelets are just nylon cables that are stitched to the inside of the upper, so that is what it is. I don't foresee any issues. Hopefully there won't be any. And then yeah, again, this is I don't like this extra tab that you have here. It's just way too much on the shoe. As for the fit on the Prototype CX, true to size is what I would recommend for a nice, snug, secure fit. However, if you are looking for a little bit more wiggle room or happen to be a wide footer, you may want to consider going up a half size or trying out the shoe in store if you can. Support wise, the most obvious thing you'll find is how deep you sit within the midsole. It wraps up almost damn near half the shoe, especially in that heel area, so you have some extra reinforcement there in addition to a internal heel cup. You do also have a torsional shank plate on there. It's not the biggest plate. It basically extends from where it starts over on this side where my finger's at and then goes a little bit further into the back of the shoe, but it's not hefty. It is strong though. It's a TPU, so there's no over twisting. You can twist the shoe a little bit, but nothing where when your foot's in it, you're gonna have any issues. At least I don't think you would. And then that midfoot placing definitely helps from the shoe caving in, even though that cutout may not be the most necessary thing, but who knows. Overall, the Prototype CX seems like it will give a pretty positive experience. I'm hoping that is indeed the case. Let us know down in the comments what you think of the Converse All-Star BB Prototype CX Mid. That's a lot of words. Stay tuned for more reviews from Chris, more performance reviews from Jackson, Allen, Evan. Those guys are killing it, so the channel is definitely in great hands. And with all that said, until the next time I see you guys or you guys see me, y'all take care of yourselves, take care of one another. Leak out.